At Chelsea, Eden Hazard was untouchable. He played 352 games, made over 200 goal contributions, and won the PFA Player of the Year award. He was a proven elite player, built for the big stage. So why did moving to football's most storied club turn his dream into a fragmented struggle instead of a crowning glory? When the dream club doesn't work, the answer isn't talent, it is timing. What went wrong from that very first moment? Eden Hazard's Chelsea career reads like a catalog of certainty. Over 7 seasons, he made 352 appearances and scored 110 goals, placing him among the club's all-time leading scorers. His creativity was just as relentless, with 92 assists, each one a thread in the fabric of Chelsea's most successful decade. In the Premier League alone, Hazard found the net 85 times across 245 matches, a strike rate that kept him in conversation with the league's elite. Honors followed his consistency. He was named PFA Players Player of the Year in 2014 to 2015, the season Chelsea clinched the title under Jose Mourinho. He added 2 Premier League trophies, 2 Europa League titles, and an FA Cup to his collection. In the 2018 to 2019 Europa League final, Hazard delivered a brace and an assist, sealing a 4-1 win over Arsenal in what would become his Chelsea farewell. That night, he was named Man of the Match, a final emphatic signature on a career defined by impact, not just promise. Across all competitions, his goal involvement eclipsed 200, a rare mark for a wide player. Recognition was constant: 4-time Chelsea Player of the Year, multiple inclusions in the PFA Team of the Year, and a reputation for deciding games when it mattered most. Hazard left Stamford Bridge not as a rising star, but as a proven force. His numbers, his trophies, and his performances all pointing to a player who had already reached the summit. At Chelsea, Eden Hazard was more than just a source of goals. He was the pulse of the team. Coaches and teammates described him as the tempo setter, the player who dictated the speed and direction of every attack. In training, drills often revolved around his ability to carry the ball through tight spaces, drawing defenders and opening lanes for others. Antonio Conte once explained that Hazard's sense for when to slow the game or accelerate into space shaped the rhythm of matches, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. This influence was not measured only in statistics. It was visible in the way Chelsea played when Hazard was on the pitch. The team's confidence in possession, the willingness to play through pressure, and the expectation that something decisive could happen at any moment. His dribbling was not just a tool for beating a man, but a way of controlling the tempo, inviting challenges, holding the ball, and then releasing it at precisely the right moment. In the 2019 Europa League final, Hazard's signature was everywhere. A weaving dribble past 2 Arsenal defenders, a perfectly timed pass, and a calm finish to cap the night. That performance was a masterclass in game management, a demonstration of how one player's rhythm could steer the outcome of a high-stakes match. Chelsea's coaches often described him as the player who set the emotional tone as well as the tactical one. When Hazard played with freedom, the team followed. His style was expected to translate anywhere, because it was not just about what he did, but how he made the whole team move to his beat. The Bernabéu crowd buzzed with anticipation as Eden Hazard stepped onto the stage in June 2019. Real Madrid had paid over 100 million euros for his signature, with add-ons pushing the deal as high as 140 million euros. The message was clear. This was not a gamble, but the arrival of a proven star expected to deliver immediately. Cameras flashed as Hazard smiled in the famous white shirt, declaring it was his dream since childhood to play for Madrid. The club, hungry to reclaim its place at the top after a season without trophies, presented Hazard as the new face of their rebuild. Zinedine Zidane, himself a legend, welcomed him as a player who could lift the team's attack back to its former heights. Patience was always in short supply here. Madrid's history is built on icons who shape eras from the very first whistle. Every detail of the unveiling, press conferences, jersey presentations, even the roar from the stands carried the weight of expectation. The fee alone set a bar that left little room for slow starts or adaptation. Hazard was not just joining a club. He was stepping into a furnace where only instant impact would do. Momentum vanished in a single moment. On November 26, 2019, Hazard's left ankle twisted under the weight of a challenge against Paris Saint-Germain. The diagnosis was an ankle sprain, but the real damage went deeper than ligaments. What began as a few missed matches stretched into weeks, then months. He watched from the sidelines as Real Madrid pressed on, the rhythm of his game slipping further out of reach with every passing fixture. Rehabilitation, usually a team effort, became a solitary task. The world shut down in early 2020, and Hazard found himself in isolation. No physio, no teammates, just the quiet grind of recovery at home. He later admitted, "I was home alone with no physio for 2 months. I pushed my body like crazy." The stop-start pattern that followed was impossible to ignore. A brief return, another setback, another restart. There was no single collapse, just a series of small interruptions, each one chipping away at the certainty that once defined him. The dream was still alive, but the sense of control was gone. The numbers tell their own story. Over 4 seasons at Real Madrid, Eden Hazard completed a full 90 minutes just 27 times. Not once per month, not even once every 5 games, just 27 occasions out of more than 150 matches. For a player who built his reputation on dictating the flow of play, these fragmented appearances made continuity impossible. At Chelsea, rhythm came from knowing he would be on the pitch week after week, touch after touch, building connections and confidence with every minute. In Madrid, each return was a restart. Minutes came in short bursts, never long enough to regain the sharpness that once defined him. The difference is measurable. At Chelsea, stretches of consecutive games allowed Hazard to set the tempo for an entire team. In Spain, the gaps between outings grew longer, and the influence that once felt inevitable began to fade. The loss was not just in goals or assists, but in the invisible thread that links match fitness to match control. Hazard's story at Madrid became one of constant interruption, proof that elite rhythm depends on more than just being medically cleared to play. Real Madrid pressed forward, collecting silverware even as their marquee signing faded from the spotlight. In the 2021 to 2022 season, the club lifted the Champions League trophy for a record 14th time. The attack found a new rhythm, driven by the energy and directness of Vinicius Jr. His pace on the left wing, once Hazard's territory, became a mainstay of Madrid's play. Vinicius scored the only goal in the final against Liverpool, his breakthrough moment on the biggest stage. While Hazard watched from the bench, the team's momentum never slowed. Titles and celebrations followed, but the spotlight shifted. The club's machine kept running, powered by those available and in form. For Real Madrid, success demanded continuity. The squad adapted and the system moved on, leaving little space for anyone caught in the cycle of recovery. Game after game, Eden Hazard's name drifted further down the team sheet. By the 2022 season, his appearances had become brief and infrequent. Late substitutions, a handful of minutes offered when matches were already decided. The player who once shaped the tempo of title races now waited for a signal from the fourth official, warming up in the shadows of a squad that no longer revolved around him. Real Madrid's bench was crowded with talent, but for Hazard, it was a vantage point that offered little comfort. He watched as teammates celebrated goals and lifted trophies, his own contributions shrinking with each passing month. The reality was stark. 76 appearances in 4 years, many of them cameos, some as little as 5 or 10 minutes. The club had moved on, not out of malice, but out of necessity. For Hazard, the dream had narrowed to a seat on the sidelines, a reminder that even the brightest talent can be dimmed when the timing is wrong. In elite football, even proven greatness collides with timing and circumstance. Today, clubs move on, while players face the limits of their moment. For every star, the lesson endures. Even the brightest talent needs more than a dream to thrive. This was one career,